वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव शुभकार्येषु सर्वदा ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री गणेश 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 साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देव्ये नमो नमः।
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So hello and welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining the program. We're all really happy to be joining you all and sharing this experience of Sahaja Yoga meditation. I'll just start off by introducing myself. My name is James. I'm originally from the US. I've been living in Australia for about 5 years now. And I've been practicing Sahaja Yoga since I was about 19, 20 years old. So about 15 years. I myself started practicing at a public program similar to this, only it was run face-to-face at my university. These days I'm working in IT. I'm living in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, I'm still using Sahaja Yoga meditation every single day. And really for me, it's just a great tool to actually connect to my spirit and really about the direct enjoyment and experience you get from meditation yourself. And I'd say on a simpler level, I meditate just to bring myself into balance, sort of decompress after work. But really it's just about bringing more joy, happiness, and balance into my life. So yeah, I'll just pass you off now to my wife, Sadhna, who's also co-hosting this program with us.
Hey everyone, I'm Sadhna. It's really nice to finally see you all. Thank you for reading all of the messages on the WhatsApp group. So I'll just give you a quick background of my experiences. I've been practicing Sahaja Yoga since I was a child, as both of my parents were practitioners for many, many years. Currently, I'm a teacher at a special needs school here in Melbourne. And I find that the techniques I've learned through Sahaja Yoga over the years has really helped me to recover from a very busy and stressful day, because we all know how much energy children can take up. But it's definitely helped me a lot. So I just wanted to go through the structure of the program in case you're not familiar with it. It will be running for 21 days, ending on the 22nd of December, just in time for Christmas. So that'll be 3 weeks in total, with a beginners, an intermediate, and an advanced program. So James and I will be hosting the first week, which is the beginners program. Each day there'll be a guest speaker that will present a new topic, and they'll be providing a guided meditation, maybe show you some videos, put some music on, and basically just show some techniques for you to try at home. And I want to stress that the goal of this course is not just to give you 21 days of meditation, but to give you the resources and the guidance to be able to continually meditate even after the course is finished, because this is something that you can use for the rest of your lives. It's not just 21 days, it's actually a lifelong sort of experience and a lifelong process where you grow, and that'll all be dependent on, you know, what you're feeling and how you're going.
Thanks, Sadhna. Yeah, so as Sadhna was saying, we're going to have different guest presenters every day to give you a variety of guided meditations and topics. We're all based out of Melbourne for this current program. And today's presenter is Mark. He's a really wonderful guy that I know personally, and he's been meditating and teaching meditation for many, many years. So you're in really great hands for getting started off with Sahaj with Mark. So yeah, I'll pass you over to him now. How are you going, Mark?
Hi, thanks, James. Thank you. So welcome, everyone. It's really a great privilege to be able to be here today and actually give you or kind of open the door to a spiritual experience that could actually change your life quite significantly. So without kind of further ado, to sort of deep dive straight into it, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to have a spiritual experience. So at the end of this program, you're going to feel on your hands a cool breeze and a cool breeze above the top of your head. And that is an activation of an energy called the Kundalini. And this Kundalini is actually known in all the different cultures. And that's what makes it particularly amazing. So if you're a Christian, you would say this is the Holy Spirit. If you're a Muslim, it's the Ruh, and the experience is your Miraj. If you're a Hindu, it's your self-realization. If you're a Buddhist, it's your enlightenment. And this energy is known through all the different sort of major world cultures. So even Australian Aboriginals know it as the rainbow serpents, this energy that's actually in the base of your spine. So what we're going to do today is sort of give you a brief rundown of the actual technique of it, and a little bit of a sort of what the blueprint of the subtle system is. Do we have a subtle system chart that we can sort of put up for the guys to see? Jimmy? James? Sorry, while James
yeah, let me see if I can get it up.
Okay. So no worries at all. While James is pulling that up, I'll give you a sort of a bit of a basic for it. So now, one of the things about Sahaj Yoga is that it's all about the experience. So where it's, even though there's lots to kind of understand, and the idea today is just to give you the sort of a brief outline of the blueprints of it. The idea is that it's an actual experience that even little kids can have. You know, you just feel it above your head. And what happens is that when this energy is activated, and this is that energy, as we said, the energy that's understood in all those different religions, when it's activated, you actually begin to feel tingles on your fingertips that correspond to your subtle centers. You may have heard of them called chakras. And so what happens is that through the knowledge of these chakras, you can actually get an understanding of yourself. So, you know, like if we've all met people who have had, say, terrible ego problems, for example. And, you know, you always wonder, like, God, can't they see it? You know, why that everyone's blind to their own problems. But what happens is that in Sahaj Yoga, when you start to feel these tingles on your fingertips, if you're, for instance, an egotistical person, you'll actually feel this finger, this ring finger on the right hand. And that's actually telling you you've got ego, you're an egotistical person. So what happens is this becomes a tool whereby you can understand yourself. So the idea of self-knowledge. So know thyself, which is the kind of cornerstone of the sort of world wisdom, is always know thyself. And you get that understanding of your nature on your fingertips. So for example, let's say you're a very emotional person. You're actually going to feel heat or some kind of tingling on your left hand. And that's to do with your past. You're kind of in the emotional, you're dragged into this kind of emotional state, which is not kind of in the center. It's actually what we would call in the subconscious or in the past. The flip side of that is if you're very futuristic and driven and ambitious and, planning all the time and so on, you become what we call right-sided, and you'll actually feel heat on your right hand. And now that's telling you, here we go, there it is. That's telling you that you're futuristic, that you're not in the center. So what does it mean to be in the center? Now, to be in the center means basically to be without thought. You're just in the moment. You may have experienced this feeling, that sometimes they call it like the flow state. Whereas if, you might be painting or you might be playing music and sometimes you get lost in it and 3 hours can pass and you feel like, oh my God, what happened to the time? We've all experienced that state in one form or another where you sort of feel like you're really in the moment. But most of the time we're not. Most of the time we're either in the past or in the future. When you look at your own thoughts, you can actually see, if you sit back and you watch your own thoughts for a moment, you can kind of see that you're reacting to things, that sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's analytical, sometimes it's judgmental. But if you actually stopped and really looked at those thoughts, if you didn't think most of those thoughts, it wouldn't make any difference to you. You can actually exist in a state where you're just calm, serene, and basically you decide when you want to think, right? And if you look at your thoughts, most of us just think that because I'm thinking it, it's a valid thought, So, and that's the problem with a lot of mental illnesses. So a lot of people have sort of these chronic, problems of paranoia, for example, and they're so in their thoughts that they think every thought's justified and every thought's correct. But the reality is that you're just bombarded by thoughts, and it's a continual sort of process that you can't do anything about. Now, the beauty of Saj Yoga is that you can actually learn how to stop your thoughts. And that's actually the state of meditation. We're going to do that tonight. Now, I just want to bring your attention to the diagram here that you can see on your screen. So if you look at the chart, that's a depiction of your autonomous nervous system. And at the base of all of that, you can see a triangular bone. That's actually the sacrum bone. So the old Greeks knew that as the sacred bone. It's actually the densest bone in your body. And so in that sacrum bone lies this kundalini. Okay, so this kundalini is like a coiled energy. It just means coils, kundalini. Now, when it rises up, which is the process we're going to go through today, it actually awakens or activates these what we call subtle centers. So you can see the first one governs innocence, the second one creativity, the third peace, the fourth love and compassion, the fifth collectivity, the sixth forgiveness, and the seventh integration. Now, there's a lot more to it than that, actually, and you'll learn that very, very quickly. But the idea is that as that kundalini awakens, she enlightens those chakras or those centers, comes out of the top of your head, and you feel a cool breeze on your hands. And that's a sign that you got it. Okay. So if you've seen any of the old religious art, so in Christianity, they always showed the saints and Christ and the apostles and so on with a halo above their head. If you've seen Lord Buddha, he always has a lotus flower. Lord Shiva has a waterfall. Even Prophet Muhammad and Ali and Hassan and Hussein, even the old Islamic art showed them with flames coming out of the top of their head. So that's actually the artist's depiction of that experience. So imagine today we're going to have an experience that all of the religions are spoken about. And it's an experience that kind of unifies the understanding of all of those cultures and all of those spiritual understandings together. So it's a unifying experience. Now, the beauty of it is that, as I said before, you feel it on your hands and you get an awareness of your shortcomings, right? So if you've got a particular problem, like let's say you get angry or something like that, you get angry very quickly, you get kind of restless and anxious and kind of ticked off. Well, what you would feel is you would feel on those centers on the right side, you would feel that second center, which you would feel on your thumb, right? So you can see here the yellow the thumb is yellow, and you can see the second center there at the belly button, that's yellow. Okay, so you would feel that on your right thumb. That's telling you you think too much. Okay, so that's the problem on that particular center. So when that center's out of balance, means you're thinking too much. The third center, which is on the stomach, you would feel on the second finger. And this is actually on your liver.
Can we please have everyone mute their mics?
Okay. So what you've got there is that these two centers are telling you that you have a liver problem. If your liver is hot, then what happens? You get angry quickly, okay? And the third one is this one here. And this is the one where if you raise your voice, or if you're aggressive, or if you shout or anything like that, you catch on this one, okay? So your body's telling you, you're angry. So there's no guesswork involved. You either are or you're not. So you feel that clearly on your fingers. So when I first came to Saj Yoga, I had a very interesting experience because I felt everything, what you're going to feel tonight. And then I felt these three. And I said to the fella, oh, what's this one? And he says, oh, you're angry. And I was 20 at the time. And I was like, no, I'm perfectly fine, And then when I went home, I asked my mum, I said, Mum, am I angry? And she was like, you are really just angry all the time. And that was a real shock to me because that showed me how little self-awareness that I personally had about my own state. And yet my fingers were telling me that this was the problem. So this is what happens in Saj Yoga. You get a full awareness of your whole self, your whole being. And this is what they call sort of self-knowledge. So when they say know thyself, this is what it's all about. So any kind of illness, you would feel it on. So for instance, high blood pressure, diabetes, let's go. Asthma is right heart. If you have angina, it's left Vishuddhi. If you have migraines, it's these two plus this one. So any problem that you have, you can feel it very clearly on your fingertips. If you have emotional problems, you feel it on the left hand. So you can really understand yourself. And the beauty is that Kundalini, you can utilize that Kundalini to help to balance yourself out. And in doing so, you actually become your own teacher, or as we would say, your own guru. And this is a very important principle of Saj Yoga, which is that you don't have to listen to us. You can actually see for yourself, well, I'm feeling that. And I know that this means such and such. And then we have ways that you can treat those problems. And in that way, you become your own teacher. You become your own guru. And this is super important because you're not beholden to really anybody. But the whole thing is, it's a great collective awareness. And we all kind of come together and meditate because in that state, the meditation is much deeper. So you have to become your own guru, but you also integrate collectively for the deepening side, which is the meditation. Okay, so that's a snapshot of this subtle system. Okay, now you feel it on your fingers. But the main experience and why we're here really tonight is because you're going to feel this Kundalini awaken. It's going to rise up your spine. It's going to come out of the top of your head. And when it comes out of the top of your head, you're going to feel that cool breeze. Now, that cool breeze is activated through an exercise that we're going to run through tonight, right? So we're going to feel it. And then what happens when that energy comes through this center here, it's at that point that you're able to enter a state that we call thoughtless awareness. And thoughtless awareness is basically you're fully aware, but there's no thinking, okay? You're completely empty. Now, it's very interesting that the state of meditation, if you look meditation up in the dictionary, it will say something like contemplating deeply and so on. But actually, it's just switching your brain off and allowing yourself to be empty. But that's really, really hard to do. So as you know, because your thoughts are rising and falling like waves, and they're very constricted. And at no point are you able just to relax and get into that state. But because once your Kundalini rises and comes through this center, what happens is those thoughts begin to elongate. And at that point, you can be thoughtless for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and so on at a time. And with practice, you can elongate it further, and then you can be in meditation anytime you like, when you're driving your car or when you're in a meeting or, in the morning when you actually want to sit down and do meditation as well. So you can be in this state all the time and you can switch into it. So it's a perfect state to witness. And so what happens is that we're so involved in our thoughts that we're bombarded, and all of a sudden you can just switch it off and you can sit back and you can just witness yourself. And that's the beauty of it. And we're going to go through all that today. Now, before we actually do the exercise, it's also worth mentioning that this is actually a very traditional approach to spirituality. It's not a kind of a new age thing. So the understanding of the Kundalini is thousands of years old. And all of the great traditions have spoken about it, as I mentioned earlier. So there's no sort of hippie trippy stuff about this. This is like a very grounded and very traditional approach to your spirituality, which is actually super important because you're trusting your spirituality to an experience that you need to know is sort of steeped in the very great traditions. Okay. Now, the other thing, as I mentioned, no one wants anything from you. You become your own teacher. There's no money involved in Saj Yoga. You just get it, you work with it, and then you improve yourself. So it's a tool for your self-improvement, okay? So I always say that no matter which culture you've come from, no matter which religion, no matter what your upbringing, whatever your culture, Saj Yoga makes you a better one of those. So you can embrace everything, but through the experience of that silence. Now, the lady who actually started Saj Yoga, her name is Shrimataji Nirmala Devi, and you're going to see a photograph of her later on. And she actually worked out how to raise this Kundalini en masse. And I think that's worth mentioning that when you look at the realm of spirituality today, what most people are doing, especially if you go to those new age kind of gurus and self-help guys and so on, they're kind of rehashing stuff that you've all read before, and they're kind of putting their own brand on everything, and it's all about motivation and so on. But the actual full, like, what do you call it, real knowledge of yourself through these centers, actually Shrimataji developed on her own. There was a good understanding of Kundalini yoga going back thousands of years, but Shrimataji actually kind of decoded this whole system for us. So she speaks very clearly about what each of the chakras means, how you can get that balance, how you can clear those centers, how you can improve yourself. And so she's, in a way, they say she was the world's greatest living saint. And I would definitely vouch for that from the point of view of that when you see the kind of knowledge that's involved in this, it's not sort of hocus pocus. It's very old school, traditional, and really steeped in those great traditions, which is sort of paramount to this being sort of, the highest state that you can experience is your self-realization. Okay. So to sum up, we're going to experience the silent state. No one wants anything from you, and you're going to walk away with all of this and the tools to carry on for the future, for the next 20 odd days and so on, and you'll get those resources that you need to sort of become your own guru and actually move ahead with it. Now, what we can do is we'll actually go through the experience right now so you can feel it. And then we'll meditate for about just 5 minutes or so, so we'll actually go through the exercise, meditate for a few minutes, and then we'll put Shrimataji's talk on, where she goes through some of the fundamentals of Saj Yoga. So we'll make it a kind of seamless sort of a process. So we'll start with self-realization, kind of take it from there. And right at the end of the whole thing, when we're done, we can do some question and answers, or we can do that on the chat. The guys will kind of lead that. So what we can do, without further ado, you have to slip your shoes off. So you have to be barefoot on the ground. If you're sitting on the ground is even better, no problem, but whatever makes you comfortable, but feet flat on the floor. And now if you can see me, what we're going to do is we're going to have our left hand out in front of us, and we're going to use the right hand to actually place it on the various centers on our body. So everything happens with the right hand on the left side of the body, okay? So just keep that in mind. So when you see my image here, you're sitting opposite that. Keep in mind, left hand out, right hand on the left side of the body, okay? So I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit so you can see where I'm putting my hands. We're going to start left hand out with your right hand on your heart. Okay, so we can do this together. And the idea being that then you can just close your eyes and we'll do some affirmations with it and you'll get the idea. So just follow me, okay? Right hand on your heart. Now, let's go bring that hand under your rib cage. So I'm just going to kind of put that there. Under your rib cage, just there on the left side, okay? Then, now move your hand down into the belly button area, right? Now back up under the ribs. Now onto the heart, okay? Then in the corner of the neck on the left-hand side and turn your head to the right. Okay. Now with your right hand across your forehead and your chin down. Then on the back of your head, but the top part, like this sort of part of the back of your head with your chin up. Lovely. Then with your fingers pulled back, we're going to put the center of the palm on the fontanelle bone area on the top of your head like this. So it's actually slightly forward and we're going to rotate it clockwise 7 times. Okay. Now, each of these movements has some affirmations with it. And now that we know the actual hand movement, what we can do now is close our eyes and we can actually go through the exercise together, okay? So with our eyes closed, left hand out, right hand on our heart. And here we're just addressing these affirmations to this Kundalini energy. She's your mothering energy. So we're going to address her as mother. So we just say here, just 3 times in your own mind, you can just ask, Mother, am I the spirit? Mother, am I the spirit? And now we move our hand down under the rib cage. So as I said, right hand on the left side of the body, just under the rib cage. And here we can just say 3 times, Mother, am I my own teacher? Mother, am I my own teacher? And now we can move our hand down to the belly button area. And here, holding on, pressing nice and firmly, we can just say, we'll say 6 times, Mother, please give me the pure knowledge. Mother, please give me the pure knowledge. 6 times. And now we can bring our hand back up under the ribs. And here we can say 10 times, we can affirm, Mother, I am my own teacher. Mother, I am my own teacher. Now we can bring our right hand on our heart, and 12 times we can affirm, Mother, I am the Spirit. Mother, I am the Spirit. And now we can bring our right hand onto the left side of the neck, turn our head to the right, hold on nice and firmly there. And here we can just say 16 times, Mother, I am not guilty. Mother, I am not guilty. Mother, I am not guilty. And now we can just bring our right hand across our forehead with our chin down. And here we just say once, but really from the heart, without thinking of who or anything like that. Mother, I forgive everyone. I forgive everyone. Just once from the heart. And now with the hand on the back of the head, with your chin up. And here we can just say, Mother, please forgive me if I've made any mistakes. Mother, please forgive me if I've made any mistakes. And finally, with the center of the palm on the top of the head with the fingers pulled back, we've got to rotate our scalp nice and firmly clockwise 7 times. And each time we rotate it, we ask, Mother, please give me my self-realization. Mother, please give me my self-realization. Mother, please give me my self-realization. 7 times. And when you're done there, you can slowly raise your hand about 6 or 7 inches above the top of your head and see if you can feel a point a particular place on the top of your head where there's a cool breeze. It'll just feel like someone blowing on your hand, or you might think it's the air conditioning or something like that. Just move your hand around until you find that point where you can feel the cool. Okay. And now try with your other hand as well, because sometimes one hand can be more sensitive than the other. So just see if you can feel that cool. And sometimes it can go quite high or quite close to your scalp. So you can move your hand up or down as well. Okay, and try again with your right hand, see what you can feel. Okay, now keeping your eyes closed, keep your attention inward with your palms open on your lap. We'll sit for 2-3 minutes. And the aim here is to not think. And the way to do it is just to watch your thoughts, because now your attention, you can separate it from your thoughts. So just watch your thoughts. And as you watch them, they'll just disappear. But you can help the process just by saying, not this, not this, anytime you catch yourself thinking, okay? So just watch your thoughts. They'll just disappear. Turn your attention back onto your thoughts. And let's see if we can zero out our minds just for a couple of minutes. Not that thought. Not that. Just watch your thoughts, and they'll just disappear automatically just by turning your attention back. Not that. Not that. Just watch your thoughts like you're watching a movie. They'll just dissolve automatically. Just 1 more minute with just full attention. You can do it. not that thought. Now just try and stay in this state, and we'll just watch about 15 minutes of Shramataji just walking through some of the basics of Saj Yoga. When Shramataji is talking, you'll actually feel that cool breeze on your hands. It's a very nice feeling. So that's what we're aiming for. Just watch Shramataji without thinking. And then at the end of the talk, we'll just recap with just like a 3-4 minute meditation at the end. And that'll just help to really take us as deep as we can go.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. These days, there are people who are going all over the places to find out the truth, the enlightenment. And there are so many books available, so many people who talk about enlightenment. And this is only in this special age which I call as the blossom time. It's happening. If they are not seeking the truth, that means they are not yet evolved as they should have been. But this is a special time that we call as the last judgment, and that time has come. And the Quran is called as Qiyam, and described very clearly what will happen at this time. All these have been indicated in all the books which are, I would say, mystical, or who we can call as religious, whatever you may call it, the mystic part. They have all indicated this time, by the end of this century, this should happen. And this has bewildered many people. They are going hither and thither, getting into problems. As it's very embarrassing what Dr. Derek Lee has told. It's a fact that I went to Russia and a scientist came forward. And he said that, Mother, I have seen your photographs. And it says so much, because I haven't seen more than one line showing. It was very embarrassing. The whole thing was very embarrassing for me. And he said, I've proved it now through all equations and everything. And he showed me the book, which is in Russian language, and all mathematical calculations, that one has to go to a vacuum state, a physical vacuum state, for reality to be understood. It was, I think, too much of science in it. But whatever it is, all these ideas, say of Quran, of Bible, of other religious books, all the religious books from India, could be called as a myth, and they were treated as myths. Many people thought it was just a myth, and they said it's no use believing in all these things. There's no thing. And also, through these books, people have been misled to do wrong things. So the whole thing got challenged also in a way that is not practical, is not beneficial, is not. But when it becomes a real experience, you may call it subject, you may call it anything, but when it becomes a real experience, then you start believing in it as a reality. But if a scientist proves it, which is scientific knowledge, then I don't know what to say. Then it really becomes the fact. And when it becomes the fact, it becomes the science. Science can be challenged. First of all, science is immoral. It is not bothered as the science as it exists today. If they create atom bombs, they create other things destructive and use it for wrong purposes, there is no binding force on the scientist. They can do whatever they like. And people can use it the way they want to use it. But when it comes to divine force, the science is perfect, I must tell you. You cannot challenge that science. You cannot. Everything that you know through the science of Sajoga, you can easily verify it. For example, firstly, it is said that your physical elements disappear. It's a fact. Without any money, without any fees or anything, just you get cured of your troubles. And when you get cured of your troubles, then you are amazed how through your own power you have been cured. But it happens, it has happened. You know, we have many doctors here. English doctors not easy to convince. And they have seen with their own experience that many patients who were supposed to be incurable are cured. They have seen that many drug addicts got all right overnight. How? Without paying for it, without taking any medicine, just through their own power of Kundalini. Now this power of Kundalini was known all over the world wide, because I find in their museums Kundalini drawn in the triangular bone, even in Sweden as well. But I should say it's in Finland as well. Then also I went to Ukraine in their museum. There are all pictures of these chakras and of the Kundalini. And in a far-fetched place like Bolivia, where we could not reach there even by air about, I think, 6 years back, you find the pictures of Kundalini. And Colombia, the ancient Colombia, had created statues in which Kundalini was the main thing. So somebody must have told them, or they might have known about it. But somebody went from Italy to Bolivia, and the Bolivian people said, we know all about it, yes, we know. But we don't know how to raise the Kundalini. And now there are, I think, 8,000-9,000 people in that far-fetched place of Bolivia who have got their realization. For which you don't have to pay, the main thing one should understand. It's like you don't pay for your breathing, you don't pay for your digestion. In the same way, for your ascent to a new life, last, we can say, the breakthrough of your evolution, for which you don't have to pay. As soon as you understand this point, you'll be amazed that you will give up all nonsensical people who are marketing their things, selling their things. You see, it's something absurd. The absurdity to such a limit that you become blind and you don't know what they are doing, what they are up to. I don't want to listen to anybody who wants to tell you the truth. Now, if we have to see for our own assent, as they say in Quran, Miraj. In Indian, this thing is called as self-realization, Atma Darshan, or you can call it Atma Sakshatkar. If you really want it, it's very easy and has to be easy because it is so vital. And when that works out, you actually experience it. And it can be tallied with the description of it. The trouble is we are so mental. We want to derive everything on a mental level. Now thank God the scientist has found out something for your mind to go round and round and round and reach the point. Because I think sometimes this mind, which is filled with all kinds of false ideas sometimes, slightly right ideas or sometimes real ideas, they go on bombarding in your head. And this scientist has said that you have to go to the vacuum, which Jung has described as thoughtless awareness, to become thoughtless. When you become thoughtless, then you can see, feel reality. So what happens? How do we get thought? When we go to some place, we see something. Immediately we react. That's our habit. This can be also proved scientifically. Why always react? Either we react towards it or we absorb it. So all the time our mind is working, and it is a wobbly mind. You are all the time bothered with it, and the modern times are the worst. Though this is the special time, as I said, because this is the time when people think the most. And this thinking goes on acting in such a way that they suffer from all kinds of diseases. Also, sometimes this mind doesn't tell you that this is wrong, that is wrong. You go on doing things, you know, for example, Hitler, how he behaved, how he killed so many people, but he never realized he was doing something wrong. Never. Ultimately, he killed himself because he was afraid that he'd be caught, but not that he repented. So they go on doing wrong things all the time without knowing that they are doing wrong things. Now to say this is sin, that is sin, only fills people with fear, that's all, and guilt. But actually, when you become the self, in the light of the self, you know what is right and what is wrong. What should be avoided? What is not beneficial for you? You just know, because you know about yourself. You get the self-knowledge. That is, you can feel your centers as being told to you on your fingertips. This again is said in the Quran, that at the time of Qiyamah, the last judgment, your hands will speak. But whole thing gets perverted sometimes by using it for a wrong purpose. That's how we have destroyed sometimes the real knowledge, the subtle knowledge of our being. It's nothing to stand for hours together on one leg in Himalayas, torturing your body. You don't have to torture your body at all. People think that if you have to perfect yourself, you must torture. This body is the temple. What is the use of building temples after temples when you cannot build your own temple? This body is the temple, and why should you torture this? You must look after this body. Look after with love, with respect. And then only you will realize how important it is to have a body. All these funny ideas, of renunciation and all false kind of approach is not going to help. My daughter was coming from India. She said there were some queer people traveling with us in first class. So they wouldn't allow the air hostess to come and serve them because they cannot allow the air hostess to talk to them. So I said, did you talk to them? I said, how could I? I am a woman. Who would talk to me? Because she's a woman, nobody would talk. They sat on the ground. There's no ground, but they wouldn't sit on the chair and eat the food. For what? Because they are renouncing everything. I think they have renounced their brains. That's what it is. All kinds of stupid things people do. For what? To achieve that state of tranquility, the state of self-realization, of self-knowledge. But just think of it, which is what has to happen inside. What's the use of doing something outside? Unnecessarily making a mess of yourself and of others. It is absurd the way people try to understand that by troubling your body, by making a mess of your body, making a mess of the whole society, that you can achieve something which is so subtle and beautiful.
Great. So what we'll do now is we'll just continue our meditation just for about 5 or 6 more minutes. And as we were saying before, the way to do this is just to keep your eyes closed, hands open in front, and what you do is you just watch your thoughts and they'll just dissolve. So try and turn your attention back on your thoughts like you're watching a movie. Watch your thoughts like a movie and it'll just dissolve. Okay, so let's try it. So eyes closed, hands open. And if we can put Srimataji's photograph up, that would be great. Not that. Not that. Not that. Don't let your attention drift outward. Not that. just bring your right hand up across your forehead with your chin down, and just say in your own heart a few times, Mother, I forgive everyone. Mother, I forgive everyone. And now just bring your hand back up onto the top of your head and just keep your pressure on the scalp, and just put your attention right there, right on the top of your head. Now, once again, we'll just slowly rotate our scalp clockwise 7 times. We'll just ask, Mother, please give me my self-realization. Mother, please give me my self-realization. Mother, please give me my self-realization. And now we'll just raise our hand up again and just see if you can feel that cool breeze. If your chakras are catching a little bit, you might feel some warm, but that's okay. Everyone's got those sort of things and it'll clear out. But hopefully you're feeling a nice cool breeze up there above the top of your head, and try with your other hand as well. It's quite subtle. It's like someone blowing on your hand. And you'll feel it just on one point. So find that point and just move your hand up and down a little bit. See if you can find the strongest point there. Try your other hand again. Okay, so that's the main part of the that's the main experience of self-realization. So that's like step 1. Over the course of time, you're going to learn a lot more about what all the chakras are and what you're feeling in your fingertips, and then how to really go deep in your meditation. But there's one final little thing I'll just show you, so now you can do it at home once you've got this. Instead of doing this whole exercise all the time, all you need to do is just what we call raise your Kundalini. And all you do, and you can follow me, is you bring your left hand down sort of near your belly button, and then you get your right hand and you turn your right hand around it like this and raise it up. And then above the top of your head, you tie a kind of a pretend knot, and you do that 3 times. Now, what happens is the Kundalini actually works with your hands. So instead of having to do the whole exercise all the time, we tie it 3 times on the last one, okay? Instead of doing that whole exercise, you just do this, okay? Then one final thing, left hand in front, right hand across, and you make this kind of arc over and back across your whole body. And this is called a bandhan. And this is like a subtle protection for your chakras, using that cool breeze or using that Kundalini energy. So you'll learn a lot more about this in the next couple of weeks. 7 times. Okay, there we go. All righty, so there we go. So I hope you're feeling it. If you're not feeling it, or if you have any sort of, confusion, please hit us up in the chat and we'll see what we can do to help, okay? And with that, I'll hand back over to the guys.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Mayank, thank you.
That was a really beautiful meditation. I think everyone's in a very peaceful and blissful state now after that. I'll just share my screen. I want to point out to you all the resources that are available.
Good evening, James. Nice to meet you. That was a fantastic experience, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. My name is Pratisha. I got a quick question. What is the actual meaning of Kundalini? What does the word Kundalini mean?
Well, look, actually, I would love to answer that question for you. But I think what we're going to do is open up questions into the WhatsApp group. But just to answer this quick one for you, Kundalini actually, it means coils. And as Mark was explaining earlier, in the Greek language, it's stored in the sacrum bone, which means sacred. So if you think of coils, it's something that when you meditate, it uncoils. So it comes up through your spinal cord, up through your central channel. So it really means to these coils which uncoil, essentially. Yeah. From another point of view, it just also just means spiritual energy. Yeah. Sorry, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thanks, mate.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, so can everyone see my screen right now?
Good.
Okay, cool. Thanks for asking that question, because actually I wanted to point out on here that we do have a place for you to post questions. If you want to pop onto this link, you can write whatever questions you have, and we'll try our best to answer them for you. And we'll actually use this line as sort of a support so you can carry on meditating at home even after the 21 days. We're going to try and arrange some sort of peer support to be able to mentor you through that. Anyway, to take it back up to the top of the site, we just have the basic program here. What's going to happen throughout the 3 weeks. You can join here with Zoom, which is recommended, so that we can later on as the course progresses, we'll probably open it up for more, allocate more time for chats and questions and everything. And you can, of course, watch it on YouTube as well. Again, this is where you can join the chat and ask your questions afterwards. If you look here, we have the full schedule for the upcoming week, so you can sort of preview what the topic is. And also, if you're wanting to review what we did the previous day, it's going to be posted here. So you can go to day one. If there's something in Shumaji's speech or something Mark said that you'd like to review or follow along again with, you can just come here and watch the previous sessions. And one of the most important parts of the site is tucked away down here at the bottom. It's called resources. If you click this open, there's a lot of amazing materials for meditating at home. So here, how to meditate at home, how to set it up. We have the subtle system. If you wanted to have a deeper look into the subtle system and what's happening with the chakra chart, you can have a look at it here. There's meditative music. If you want to start meditating at home, but you want sort of something in the background to sort of help calm your thoughts or something to put your attention onto to guide your meditation. Anyway, it's a really incredible resource that they've put together, and it's all available to you for free. So I'd really recommend come and having a browse and make use of it. And I would just reiterate as well that meditation, it really, the benefits and the experience really develop a lot with nurturing and with practice. So I would encourage everyone, whenever you have some spare time, to come onto here and find out which of these resources might help you get into meditation and get you practicing at home. Yeah, so I'll just pass you off to Sadhana to explain tomorrow's program.
Awesome. Thanks, James. So I just wanted to give you a brief run through of tomorrow's program, just so you know what to expect. Our guest speaker will be Paul, and he will go through how meditation can help us to manage stress. We will cover how to create balance in ourselves and maintain balance in our daily lives. And this will be a particularly great topic if you're the type of person who feels a lot of stress in their day-to-day life, whether that's through work, family, anything at all. So it's going to be a great session. So I might wrap it up there. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And if you haven't done so already, we really, really encourage you to join that WhatsApp group, because that's sort of where all the information comes from on a daily basis. We can send you the links, reminders for each session that we have, and also for any questions that you have throughout the week. So if you go through to the resources and you try a meditation by yourself, you might pop up with another question, and you want to develop yourself or develop your meditation, then you can just ask on that, and James or myself will try and get to that as soon as we can. There is a bit of a time difference, so sorry if it's our sleeping time. It might be quite a few hours until we can respond to your questions, but we're really, really happy to answer them for you. There's also a link in both chats on YouTube and this Zoom meeting for you to have quick access to joining that group. So thank you, and we really hope to see you at the same time tomorrow. We'll send those reminders, and we hope that you enjoyed today's session.
you're welcome, everybody. Thanks again for joining. It's good to see some familiar faces popping up on the screen. We have a really lovely meditation program planned out for you tonight. For those of you who are new to the program, my name is James, and I'll be co-hosting, co-emceeing the program with my wife, Sadhna. Sadhna, if you'd like to say hello.
Hi, guys. Yep. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you all again. And for the new people, hello, I'm Sadhna. Also, if you've just started today, I just wanted to quickly re-explain the course structure so you all have something to look forward to. So the series will be running for 21 days, ending on 22nd of December, just in time for Christmas. So 3 weeks in total with a beginners, intermediate, and an advanced program. Each day there will be a guest speaker that will present a new topic, and they will go through a guided meditation, as well as some techniques for you to try at home. We really hope that by the end of this course, you'll have the skills and techniques to be able to regularly meditate yourselves and to feel great, of course. Also, I wanted to mention that at the end of the 3 weeks, we're going to start a mentor program as well, if you feel that this is something that you'd like to do. We've already had a question about this, which is so nice to hear, just how enthusiastic you all are. With this, you'll be paired with 1 or 2 people to help you go even further in your meditation journey. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, just running off of what Sadhna said about the WhatsApp group, that's already running. I'll show you the link to that at the end. So already we've had some people active on there. Mark, who you met yesterday, he's been trying to answer everyone's questions, as well as Sadhna and I. So if at any point you have any questions or would like some clarification or some help, feel free to jump onto that WhatsApp and we'll help you out as best we can. Right, so tonight's program will be hosted by Paul. Paul is a friend of ours. He actually lives just down the road from us, and he's a really great guy, and he's been practicing and teaching Sahaj also for many, many years. So he's quite the expert in the field, and I think he has a really lovely meditation planned out for tonight. We'll be recovering the self-realization process. In the beginning, for the first week, it's just a good idea to sort of revisit those affirmations over and over again. Affirmations are not essential for meditation, but in the beginning, they do help clear our attention and put our attention in the right space for the Kundalini to come up. So we'll be revisiting that topic through a lot of these beginner sessions. And so there's going to be the self-realization process. There'll be a bit of an excerpt from Sri Mataji, the founder of Sahaja Yoga Meditation, and Paul will lead us through another guided meditation after that. So I'll pass it over to Paul. How are you going, Paul?
Good, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for that.
Yep.
And welcome to everyone. Thank you for your time tonight for the program. Hopefully we've got together something that you'll get a real experience from tonight. We're doing our second night tonight. Mark did our first night last night, and we went through a realization process. And we're going to do a very similar version of that, but it's a little bit shortened. It's only 5 minutes worth. And it's just to sort of benefit if anyone's new to the program, and if they'll get that initial benefit of the self-realization. And after that, I'll give you a little bit of a talk about sort of why we need to do that a little bit more as well. So if we can just start that video, and I'll actually, before we start, I might actually just give you the hand positions, because like we did last night, we want to do it with our eyes closed. So tonight we're only doing 4 positions. The first position is on our left heart, using our right hand on our left heart. So just on the left-hand side of our heart, we're starting there. And then we're moving up to our left-hand side of our neck and turning our head to the right as far as we can, as far as it's comfortable. And then we can move our hand onto our forehead and just slightly bow our head forward. And then we can take our hand, stretching our fingers back and put it on the frontal elbow, which is not the crown of the head. It's a little bit forward of the crown of the head. And it's the soft bone when we're a child. And we want to put the center of the palm right on that. And we're going to push down and rotate in a clockwise direction when Sri Mataji asks us to. So if we can just put on the video and we'll just go through it quickly. It takes about 5 minutes and we'll come back after that.
The most important thing is to get the experience of self-realization. So the first thing is to get connected to this all-pervading power. This is extremely simple, which you cannot achieve by reading, by studying, or by doing anything. It is not a mental act, but it's a living happening. Please close your eyes. So now raise your right hand on the left hand side on your heart. And here you have to say with full confidence again, Mother, I am the pure spirit. Mother, I am the pure spirit. I have told you that this all-pervading power is the ocean of knowledge, ocean of compassion, ocean of bliss. But above all, it is the ocean of forgiveness, and whatever mistakes you have committed can be easily dissolved by it. So please forgive yourself and put your right hand at the corner of your neck and your shoulder and turn your head to your right. Here you have to say, Mother, I am not guilty at all. Please say this. Mother, I am not guilty at all. Whether you forgive or you don't forgive, you don't do anything. But if you don't forgive, then you play into wrong hands. Here, now you put your right hand on top of your forehead and put it down. From your heart you have to say, Mother, I forgive everyone. And don't think about the people whom you have to forgive. Just say, Mother, I forgive everyone in general. Don't think about them. Please forgive me if I have done anything wrong, knowingly or unknowingly. Say it from your heart. Stretch your palm fully and put it the center of your palm on the fontanelle bone area, which was a soft bone in your childhood. Now press back your fingers as far as possible. And with the pressure, move your scalp. Move it clockwise slowly. Now here, again, I cannot force self-realization on you. You have to ask for it. So move your hand so that you move the scalp well with a pressure, saying 7 times, Mother, please give me self-realization. Mother, please give me self-realization. Now take down your hands, put both the hands towards me like this. Like that.
So we can just start with a little bit of an explanation of what Srimaniji just went through. It's a process of what we call self-realization. And what does that mean? I suppose the essence of what it is doing is it gives us the ability to observe our mind. And when we can observe our mind, we're actually able to see what's going on with our thoughts. So we can break that out into a few different categories there. Like we have our thoughts going on in our head, which we tend to have going on pretty much all the time. And if I ask you to stop thinking, it's probably a very difficult task. And if you keep on trying, you'll probably have a headache after about 10 minutes. And you won't get very far with it. So what this self-realization does is actually gives us the ability to step back from our thoughts and not think. So how does that work? It's basically, if we look at what's going on in our mind, our thoughts are going on, but what's aware of our thoughts? And it's our awareness, our consciousness. And that awareness and consciousness is actually beyond our thoughts. It exists before our thoughts. It's actually the thing that allows our thoughts to exist. So what that state of, or that process of self-realization that we've just gone through, and we'll probably go through it a few more times before the end of this series, it gives us the ability to step back from our mind. And I think one of the a word that's thrown around a lot these days is mindfulness, and that idea of being in the mind. Meditation is not being in the mind, it's stepping out of the mind. And so it's not mindful, it's mindless. But that's probably not a good analogy of it. Mindless means that there's you've lost your mind, but we still have the ability to use our mind. And that's the key to what we're doing when we're meditating, is to get to a state, what we call thoughtless awareness. We're in a witness state. We can see our thoughts and we can let go of our thoughts. And basically, the more we practice meditation, the better we get at doing that. Or what Mark was mentioning last night, we have a gap in between our thoughts, and we learn to expand that gap between our thoughts. So the next step, we can just start looking at our thoughts. Jimmy, could I possibly get up the chakra chart?
Yeah.
Or Mayank? Yeah. But just looking at our thoughts, once we start observing our thoughts, we really only have two different types of thoughts. Thoughts about the past and thoughts about the future. Now, basically thoughts about the past, the things that have happened to us, the experiences that have happened to us, good experiences, bad experiences. And thoughts about the future, things that we want to do, things what we want to achieve, what we want to have for lunch tomorrow, that's in the future. These are all projections into the future. But when we start to observe through meditation, we really only exist in the present moment. And there's a lot of people who say, yes, we need to be present, we need to live in the present. But when we say that, it's basically our thoughts telling us a story about living in the present, but we're not really doing it, because by their very nature, the fundamental nature of thoughts is they exist in the past and the future. They don't exist in the present. So when we talk about meditation, meditation isn't some form of hairy-fairy kind of thing that we're doing. It's actually something very practical. It's actually giving us a chance to step away from our thoughts, exist in the present moment, and exist as our true nature. The more we can open that window to that awareness or that consciousness within us, the deeper we go with our meditations. So in relation to the past and future, in the subtle system that you can see on the screen there, on the right side, there's a yellow channel that runs up the right side, and then it crosses over at the Ajna chakra and goes to the left-hand side. And the blue channel does the opposite. So basically we have these two channels, or these two energies, it's probably better saying, that sort of are operating within us. If we get into the habit of projecting into the future, become very ambitious, I suppose the extreme forms of being on the right side and projecting into the future is anxiety, aggression, and all these things sort of manifest themselves as our thought processes in the habit of actually doing that. Like, so we're doing this thought process without actually almost being conscious of it doing it to us. When we meditate, we get the ability to step back and see that process going on. It's the same thing for the left side. The left side is more towards our thoughts from the past. So the experiences that we've had from the past, and we potentially dwell in the past. We can't let go of something that's happened to us in the past. Our thoughts develop a habit of projecting into the past. So basically we get into the habit of one side or the other. So we might be a right-sided person or a left-sided person. A right-sided person is more into being extroverted, going out into the world, doing things. A left-sided person possibly becomes a little bit more introverted, and possibly a little bit more emotional, and that's the qualities of the left side. But the idea that we've just discussed is that we don't want to be on either side. We want to be in the center, and establishing a balance is the key. And this is basically why we're here, and we're doing these 21 days, is that it's going to give everyone on this group the ability to develop this technique within themselves to be able to go into thoughtless awareness and develop that state of meditation, of being in the present, thoughtless awareness. All these things refer to the same thing. It gives us the ability to develop that state within ourselves. So you may ask, why do you want to do this? And what's the point in it? And I think if you ask any practitioner of Sahaja Yoga, we've all had experiences that sort of when you practice this, there's benefits that, there's health benefits, there's relationship benefits, there's work benefits. It's basically because your mind isn't running your life anymore. You're running your life from a position of a witness to life. And you can use your mind whenever you need to, but you don't have to. And the ability to be able to step out of your mind, basically, if you look at our thoughts, any forms of anxiety or stress in that sense is basically, stress is the mind wanting to be in the future, but it's in the present, and it creates a stress because basically you're not in the future, you're in the present, but you're wanting to be in the future. And that in itself creates this stress within our mind. So the extreme form of that, we then get to anxiety, and it can become very serious. But using meditation, we can negate the effects of these processes within us. And the more that we can achieve that state of meditation, the better we're able to deal with these situations. So essentially, coming to the present, allowing us to feel the present within ourselves, is the essence of what we're going to be doing every night. So I can probably leave it there. Sri Mataji is going to give us a talk. It's a talk that she gave to the Indian administrative officers, of which her husband was one of them. And she was quite aware of the stresses and the strains that these people get involved in on a day-to-day basis. So we can watch this video. It goes for about 15 minutes, and we'll come back and do a short meditation.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. That's a very interesting subject that has been given to me to talk to you people. Because I've been always worried about the IAS, IPS, and other government servants. Very much worried. Because I have known the kind of life my husband was leading, and I used to think, if these new people who have come to these services, to the government service, we have to tell them the dangers that are ahead of them. Because we don't know what is the subtle system within us which works. And in this subtle system, when we lead this kind of a very speedy, intensive life, it has a defect. It has a defect. You can see in the chart, they have shown the subtle system, which works it out. So we have a center here on the crossing of the optic duct. This center is very important because we react with this. We react to everything. By this reaction, we create a problem within ourselves. And this reaction comes to us because we do not know how to go beyond the mind. Every time we are looking at something, we react. We look at someone, we react. But we cannot just watch. We cannot be just the witness. If we could be the witness, it will not have any effect on us. But we cannot be. That's the trouble when this center is very active. We call it as Agya Chakra. Where the two optic nerves meet. At the crossing point, this center is placed. Even Jung has said that you have to go beyond your thoughts, and that you have to become thoughtlessly aware. Even in our Shastras it is written that you have to have Nirvichar Samadhi, means without thought, and the another is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now even Einstein has said that you have to go beyond the mind to reach the torsion area, he calls. When he was searching for his theory of relativity, he found it was difficult. He couldn't find it. He got very tired. He went into his garden and was playing with soap bubbles like a child. Then he says, suddenly from somewhere else, it dawned upon me this theory of relativity. He calls it openly as a torsion area. And this torsion area we have to touch instead of ourselves thinking all the time and reacting. Because as a result of that, what happens, we should say? What happens is that our movement on the autonomous nervous system goes to the right side. The right side is very good, otherwise a person looks very impressive, he can oppress other, he can be aggressive, he can be very systematic, all these things can be there. But it has a reaction. The reaction is horrible because this right side affects our liver to begin with. Now the liver is called liver because we live because of liver only. That's why it's called liver. This liver gets affected and there is no actually treatment, we should say, in the medical science for liver. They can replace it with a pig's liver or some liver like that. But otherwise, there is no way out. But we are the ones, we are spoiling this liver ourselves by creating tremendous heat in the liver. This special liver has got a capacity to absorb heat and release it into the bloodstream. And then, you see, it gets relieved of it. But when it is too much, when the liver is too much full of heat, then it cannot give up that heat. Then this heat start traveling upward. It can go to the right lung. It can go to the heart. Now imagine right lung means asthma. Simple thing is asthma. Then it goes to the heart. When there's a young boy, say of 21 years or so, up to that age, he starts playing cricket, tennis, and drinks a lot. Then he gets a massive heart attack. It's fatal, he cannot live. Then it affects, as I told you, other organs also. This heat goes to the pancreas, causing diabetes of a very serious nature, not of a mild nature, but a very serious nature. Then this heat passes down to the spleen. In the spleen, it gives you blood cancer. This is all possible for all right-sided people, I'm telling you. That's why I was worried that people who are, according to me, are the spine of our country. They are the spine of our country. They should not get out of life because of too much of strain and stress on their mind. Now then it goes to the kidneys. It coagulates the kidneys and you get kidney trouble, or you cannot pass urine and you have all the troubles there. Apart from that, it goes to the lower intestines and you get terrible constipations and all the problems of the constipation. Then also to the heart. At a later age, it comes. It goes on affecting, ultimately, your heart fails. Very early in age, I know of recently 2 people died of heart trouble who were at a very good position. This is very much worrying me, that how to bring them to close to themselves, to know themselves what the problem is and how to solve that problem. With this we understand that we react. By reaction we create such a heat within us. Apart from this, The other psychosomatic diseases, this is I'm telling about somatic, but the psycho disease which comes from your psychological problems come from the left side. Of course, I'll not deal with that now. But somehow, if you can move from right to the left, you are sure to get some psychosomatic trouble which cannot be cured by medical science, like cancer, AIDS, all kinds of this. So you are just preparing your body for them. In these modern times, the life is so full of struggle, speed. Now we were coming and there was a jam. Now you can't help it. I was very silently watching now. This is the jam. I have to reach late, doesn't matter. My husband normally would have been really in great trouble. He would have looked at the watch all the time, would have been, wow, where are we, what are we doing, this and that. But he was so silently watching the whole thing, I was amazed. Because normally he would be jittery that we are getting so late for a function like. Now, you see, once you get rid of this problem, is the easiest thing to live. The other day I met one gentleman who was transferred. He said, always whenever, he is an IAS officer, whenever I am transferred, mother, I used to be so jittery, such tension, such stress on my mind, Baba, what will happen, where will the children go, what will happen to the house, this, that, all problems would come to me. But what has happened to me and my wife, we don't feel anything now. We don't feel. We are not worried. We sleep very well. I said, that's what has to happen. All these things should not affect you. That's only possible when you can go beyond this mind, which we think mind is not such a good word, I should say, because it's not mental. It is. If it is only mind means the one which thinks, and that for them mental hospital is also mad people. I don't know how English language moves. It's difficult, you know. English language is very difficult to explain such because in the English language you'll be amazed that they call spirit. Spirit is the Atma, right? Spirit is the dead body moving about according to them. And thirdly, it means also alcohol. Now, which one is closer to which one, I don't know. But this is why I'm saying that English language is a difficulty. Marathi is the best because lot of work has been done among Maharashtrians on Kundalini. Nath Panthis were there. They have done a lot of work. But the tradition was that one person would give realization to only one person. If I have done anything you think worth mentioning, it is that I tried to find out a way of giving collective realization, collective happiness. That's what was my humble contribution, and by which I find thousands of people have got their realization. Now, what is the realization? It is that if you see at the base of the spinal cord is a triangular bone called as sacrum. It is called sacrum because it's a sacred bone, and the Greeks knew about it, that it's a sacred bone. And according to our Shastras and also many other prophecies, there resides a power within us, our own power, your own power, called as Kundalini. It's called Kundalini because it is in 3.5 coils. Coils are called Kundal, that's why it is the Kundalini. Now, this power is your own. It's in every human being. And if it is awakened, it passes through 6 centers, piercing through the top of the head, which we call as the Brahmarandre in the Sanskrit language, and the fontanelle area in the English language. It passes through that soft bone which was there in the childhood, and you just start feeling the cool breeze coming out of your head and the cool breeze coming. Kundalini has to rise and has to pierce through fontanelle area. Otherwise, it's no use. It's just words, some sermon or something. So, this happening is very easy in this Kali Yuga. This is really remarkable because maybe because of Kali Yuga, people are fed up of the things going on and all kinds of things working out. Now, what does it do? It passes through 6 centers. 6 centers, these are meant for our physical, mental, and emotional being, and also for our spiritual being. So, when it passes through these 6 centers, it nourishes those centers. It integrates all these centers. And ultimately, it passes through this and enters into the all-pervading power of divine love. It's called as Paramachaitan. You may call it as all-pervading power of divine love or anything, but names make no difference. There is a very subtle power around us which looks after us, which guides us, which helps us, which is the torsion area. Now, by doing that, what happens? That you become knowledgeable of the absolute truth. Absolute. Whatever you know is absolute, is nothing to doubt, nothing can be challenged. For example, it starts flowing through your fingertips. Starts flowing through your fingertips, and you can feel it on your fingertips, your centers. Now these are 5, 6 and 7 centers, 5, 6 and 7 centers. I'm not going to tell you all the details now, but when you start feeling these cold sensation, Adi Shankaracharya has called it as Spand, then you feel the truth, the real truth. For example, supposing in your office you get somebody who is a cheat, very well dressed, speaks English very well, very well behaved. How will you make him out? You just have to put your hands under your table and see for yourself. Immediately you'll get some sort of a burning sensation, or you might feel some sort of a, call needle and pins, like that. That kind of a feeling you might get. Then you will also know what centers is catching on your fingertips. This is the absolute knowledge about everything. It's not question of only knowing who is a bad or a good person, but also of diseases. Supposing you have some disease, you will feel it on your fingertips. On your fingertips you will feel it. You will know this is your disease, and if you know how to cure them, you can cure others also. Because you become one with the whole. It's a very collective personality you develop. Who is the other after all? We are all one. But only trouble is we are separated because of this ignorance.
I'm just going to ask everyone just to close their eyes. And we can just take a couple of very slow, deep breaths. If we notice any thoughts coming into our mind, we can just say, not this thought. You want to be in that state of witnessing. That state beyond our thoughts. Not this thought. We notice it's hard to stop thinking. Just put your attention on your breath. Take slow, deep breaths. We can take our right hand and just put it on our left heart, like we did before. And we can just say, Mother, please let me feel the peace of my spirit. Mother, please let me feel the peace of my spirit. Just whenever you're ready, we can just slowly open our eyes. Just trying to maintain that state of meditation. So we're coming to the end of the session. But just to finish off, I just wanted to just highlight that sort of, with meditation, if we can get this one thing right, if we can develop this state of meditation, if we can get that right, all our parts of our lives comes together. Our work, our family, every part of our life feels the benefits of this. We can see why it feels it actually has the benefits is that it actually gives us a state to enter into the world whereby we're not agitated. We're not ready to react. And I can guarantee that if you sincerely and genuinely do this for the whole 21 days, the results you'll see will be amazing. But it's up to you to take that experience and develop it within yourself. So without saying too much more, try and keep that state of meditation. And I'm just going to hand you back to Jimmy and Sadhana. And thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much, Paul, for that beautiful meditation and your explanations of the links between stress and meditation. I don't know about the rest of you, but I definitely feel a lot more peaceful. I hope that all the people following tonight were able to feel the benefits of this meditation, and perhaps you are starting to feel more of the effects of the Kundalini rising. This will definitely grow with each session as we go onwards towards the 21 days of this program. Before I pass you on to James, I just wanted to mention that I'm going to put up a link to the WhatsApp group now, in case you haven't joined yet, in case you weren't here yesterday. And on this chat, we just give you updates of the sessions, and you can also ask any questions that you have throughout the week, or if you decide to try meditation at home. So I'll pass you on to James now, and just watch out for that message that I'm going to send in both the YouTube chat and the WhatsApp chat. Thanks, James.
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and share my screen. I'd like to familiarize you with the resources that we have online. Just pull it up here. You see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. So here's the website, freemeditation.com.au/December 2021. I'll put that in the chat as well, just at the end here, or maybe Mayank, if you could.
I'll add that in there. That's okay. I can do that now too.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so this is a really incredible resource that's been put together. This just has the outline of our program, week 1, week 2, week 3. You can join through here as well, join Zoom or watch on YouTube. This is a link to the WhatsApp support group, which is the same link that Sadhana put out. You can also access it through the website. And here, if there's something you wanted to revisit, you could check out day 1, day 2. We're going to post all the meditations here. You can also look ahead to see what's happening over the next days. And this part hidden away at the bottom here is a really great resource. It has so many different tools you can use to start meditating at home. So there's a guide to how to meditate at home. The subtle system with the chakras and the nadis, if you wanted to look at that in more detail. There is a beginner's guide. There's meditation music. There's some techniques that you won't be familiar with yet on here, like foot soaking and candle treatments and balancing. Those are going to be coming up in the week. There's more excerpts from Shimaji's talks if you'd like some more in-depth information about meditation. Anyway, heaps of great resources here. And I'd encourage you to come to the website. Of course, these sessions that we're hosting are really excellent way to get started and sort of have a guide, but this is a great resource to get you meditating at home, because ultimately that's the goal, is that you take these tools and yourself begin meditating on your own. And yeah, this is just a really great guide. So I'll just stop sharing. And yeah, just before we wrapped it up, I just thought I'd open it up to the floor. If there's some people out there that aren't too shy, if you'd like to share any of your experiences or ask any questions. Tony, how you going, mate? I see you're here again today.
Yes, very good, James. Thoroughly enjoyed yesterday. I think I mentioned on the app that I'd been a bit stressed at work for the last week. And then after yesterday's meditation, and I really felt the cool air at the top of my head when we did the exercises with Mark. And today I had a really lovely day, very relaxed. And then tonight again, I enjoyed the work with Paul. So thank you very much. And I went through the resources today. I had a bit of a day off work to have a day for myself. And there's some fantastic resources on there. And I encourage people to get on there and have a look. Some really nice videos and some nice meditations.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing. I actually had a similar situation today. I had a really hectic day at work, and then I'm working from home, and the neighbor's dog was barking like crazy, been having issues with the neighbors. So I got pretty ruffled up today. And so it was really nice in the evening to be able to meditate with you all and cool down and feel that cool breeze. So same here. And anyone else? Is there anyone from outside of Australia here? Anyone from India? I think we had some from India yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's there?
That was just me.
Oh, thanks for the support. All good. Well, look, we'll wrap it up there. Actually, sorry, I wanted to just let you know about tomorrow's program. Let me just share my screen again real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. Go up to the handy dandy program. Day 3, a contemporary perspective. So it's going to sort of talk about what's happening with modern day yoga and meditation classes, and really more what's happening with Sadh Yoga and how it's steeped in a very thousands of year old tradition from India, and what it means for your own growth. So anyway, very interesting topics tomorrow. Do tune in tomorrow, and yeah, thanks again, everybody, and see you all tomorrow.
Thanks for joining, guys. See you tomorrow. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us again. We're very happy to be sharing our third day of Sahaja Yoga's meditation series with you. For those of you who are new to the program, my name is Sadhna, and I'll be co-hosting the first week of the program with my husband, James. James, are you there?
Yep. Hi, everybody.
Awesome. So it's been really nice to see how eager everyone has been with trying the extra meditations at home. I know some people have really liked to share their experiences on the WhatsApp group and also chatting, asking questions, and, you know, just trying to get them to get a bit more deeper in their meditations at home. And if you'd like to be a part of this and join on the WhatsApp group, we'll be posting the link in the chat towards the end of the session. So today we have a different Paul with us. Today we had a Paul and today we have another Paul. And Paul has been practicing Sahaja Yoga meditation for a very long time. And he is very experienced in conducting specifically online guided meditation. He is going to take us through a short self-realization meditation to really help establish the Kundalini. Then he'll talk to us about the real meaning and purpose of meditation and yoga, followed by a short talk by the founder of Sahaja Yoga, Srimati Nirmala Devi. Then finally, he will help us to feel really peaceful and balanced inside by taking us through another guided meditation. So let's get into it. How are you going, Paul?
Hello, thank you for having me today. Can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you, James. Thank you, Sadhna. Yes, today I thought it would be great to have a bit of a perspective. What is the meaning of yoga? Because if I walk down the street here in Melbourne, you know, you have acrobatic yoga, you have hot yoga, you have cool yoga, you have physical yoga, you have all kinds of yoga. And I think in the West, yoga is becoming quite superficial. While the yoga has been around for 1,000 years, since Patanjali about 2,000 years ago put together what was previously a bit more of a spoken tradition. So I will cover that today and what's the real meaning of yoga, and link it with why meditation is important and what's the relationship with yoga, religion, and spirituality. So what I would like to do today, because it's quite important it's a practical session, I would like to start with what you have seen in the first few days, which is what we call self-realization. And the self-realization is the first meditation, as Sadhna has mentioned to us, where we are going to awaken an energy in us, and that resides here in the sacrum bone. And that energy, called the Kundalini, rises in the central channel, and we get what we call self-realization when this energy is opening the seventh center or seventh chakra. A lot of terms, nothing to worry about. The only thing I would like to mention is that this is quite a new experience for many of us, and it is the actualization of yoga. So I will show you first how it's done, and we will together we'll see what we can feel, because it's all about feeling rather than just reading or listening. And once we feel it, we can then meditate, and I will give you some explanations. All right. So let's get started. The first thing we will do is put both our hands on our laps. If you are sitting at home, I'm sorry, my screen is a little small. And when we go through that exercise of self-realization, the left hand will stay on our lap, and the right hand will go on the different centers that you can see here: the heart, the Nabi, we call it the Svadhisthana, back to the Nabi, the heart, the neck, the forehead, and then the Sahasrara, the last chakra. So First, our hand will be on our heart. I will stand up so you can see it. Then our hand will go under the rib cage. Then at the hip, all on the right side. Then back under the rib cage. Back on the heart. And then probably the most complicated is actually to put the right hand at the corner of our left shoulder and neck and turn our head towards the right to give a bit of tension on the neck here. Then we'll put the hand on our forehead, at the back of our head, and to finish up, we'll put our hand on top of our head here, the area that was soft when we were a kid called the fontanelle, the little fountain actually. So we stretch our hands, we press it hard, and this is where we are going to ask for self-realization. Okay, so it's a first meditation straight away. I hope you're all with me. Now that you know it, what we're going to do, we are going to do it eyes closed because it will help this energy, the Mother Kundalini that's in our sacrum bone, to actually rise and keep our attention inside. All right. I hope you're all comfortably seated. Just relax. Put both your hands on your laps. And we can, if you have shoes on, you can remove your shoes because it's always good to have our feet on Mother Earth. And the first thing we'll do in that exercise is to put our right hand on our heart, on the left side. And here we are going to ask a fundamental question. And that question is, Mother, and we refer to Mother Kundalini, that is the motherly energy in us. Mother, am I the spirit? And we can ask that question 3 times, starting to put our attention inside.